Well, it's the Finished Feathers and Racks Outdoors back again. It's been about a year since we've done a little episode. We was in the hunting room last time. Now we done moved to the music room over at Jared's house. We do some recording and stuff over here with some songs we've written and stuff like that. So I guess we'll get started off with the Bible verse of the episode and all. So Jared's going to bring it to us.
It's going to be Ephesians 2:8. It says, "By grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is a gift of God." So, grace didn't come free. Christ died for us so that we would have grace, and through Him we'd be saved. Has nothing to do with us. The only thing to do with us is that we would accept Him in our heart and live for Him to the best of our abilities. By what His Word says, the standard of His Word. So I think that's a pretty good verse.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do personally to be good enough. If we could, He wouldn't have to come as a sacrifice, So He died for our sins and all, so we could be forgiven. He was the ultimate sacrifice and all. So by His grace, we're saved.
That's right.
So hopefully that'll touch one of y'all. But I guess we'll move on into Jared's got something to talk about coming up here.
Yeah, I can start. I've been fishing a good bit this year. It started off pretty good. The river down here, y'all know we in South Louisiana, we had Hurricane Ida a couple years ago and had a real bad fish kill. So they restocked, and last year we was fishing and we was able to catch a bunch of fish. They were just all small fish. But this year it's really kind of kicked off down here. I know February was probably the best year I've ever had in my life around here. I caught several fish over 3 and a couple touching 4 maybe. But
that's good for here.
Yeah, that's very
not very impressive anywhere else. But
no, it's very unusual in the rivers here, and so that's been pretty good. I made a trip to Sam Rayburn over in Brooklyn, Texas, at the end of February, and water was low. They got the place drained. Right now they had to drop the lake level a lot to work on the dam, but we got there post front and thought it was going to be terrible. Ended up catching several decent fish. I mean, you're fishing pre-spawn at that time, and we had several fish, coming up out of the drains a little later in the day. Caught several fish in drains. Water was dropping, so the bank, or the flat, I should say, that we were catching fish on had a couple drains running up into it. And we lost a lot of water on it and about the 3rd day. So we had to kind of move and make some moves and some changes, but we done that, and it still ended up catching several fish. So we had a good trip then, and then.
Well, talking about the post front, usually when the front's coming in, you're expecting is it the pressure to drop or rise?
Yeah.
I think it drops, and it makes it to where the fish usually fight a little better. So y'all was expecting a pretty decent trip anyway,
Right. So got back from there. My dad and several of his buddies, they take their campers to Toledo, and they usually stay about 2 months. Well, Toledo was low as well, so I went up there and fished a few weekends in a row. Done all right. The fishing, man, this year is kind of weird. It's been so slow as far as your bait retrieval for us anyway. What we have found has been working. I know a crankbait just barely reeling it. They're hitting it great. Fishing a Carolina rig and on some drops and some ledges, about 20 to 25 foot of water on Toledo's usually where we catch our fish, and done pretty good doing it. And then 3 weeks ago, I was able to go back to Sam Rayburn, and I got to fish a few days there. The water had dropped a good bit from when I was there in February. And so I got to hit some new places that I hadn't fished in a long time, because we didn't really want to fish the north end because it's dangerous with the lake levels. But found some fish deep. Had an unexpected boat fire about 18 miles from the boat launch, and was blessed I was able to get it out and still able to fish the rest of the weekend, but it could have really been bad. It was a pretty bad fire. I mean, big enough fire to burn a shifting cable in half. So we dealt with that. I caught the fish really well that weekend. I had some bad winds, but I found a pocket that was holding a lot of fish in a little bit deeper water on a Carolina rig. I know I FaceTimed Jacob several times and was catching fish, just dragging a sea rig really slow. And we're going back this weekend. We got our big trip, me and my cousin Chris and several other guys. We go on a trip. We've been doing it for, it's hard to believe, we've been doing it for almost 12 years.
Yeah, it don't seem like it.
No, almost 12 years straight that we've been doing this trip. We're going to go on a guide with Chad Mahler, average fisherman Chad Mahler. Me and him talk a good bit. He's a great guy. So if y'all decide y'all want to go on an electronics trip or just a bass charter in general on Sam Rayburn, he's a very great guy to go with. He's a veteran, and you know, for us, I know that means a lot. We hold our veterans and the guys in the service very close to our heart.
Yep.
So Jake, won't you? That's about what I got on the bass this year. I'll let y'all know. I'll have some videos out on our TikTok, on our YouTube from this weekend when we go. But I know that's about what I got on the bass. I know Jacob, y'all been smoking the flatheads, huh?
Yeah, we had a pretty good trip. Before I get on that, he was talking about our rivers and all around here and how we had a hurricane about 4 or 5 years ago. It seems to be a reoccurring thing that we don't ever wish for. That about every 5 or 6 years, once our fishing gets back right, it seems like we have another storm and a bad fish kill, and it takes it at least 4 years to get back to where you can actually go expecting to catch fish and all. And this year's been that year. It's been crazy. Like you said, us catching the flatheads. We started off here locally at home, literally in one of the creeks by our house. That's just a small drainage into one of the rivers, and we would leave in the evening time after work. We get off at like 5 o'clock and go catch us a few brim and hang live on some limb lines, and we'd be back at the house about 10:30 at night with a 140 quart ice chest full of flatheads and blue cats, just big fish. And we filled our freezer pretty early and was giving fish away. But our most recent trip, we went down to Lake Pelor. One of our local churches here, Koyette Baptist Church, it's a group of them that gets together and goes camping usually about once a month every spring, and they'll go run jug lines or noodles, and they'll catch a lot of fish and all and clean them, and it's a big old team effort, basically what it is. And I enjoyed going with them this time. And what they do is they take the fish and they go back to their church when they do fundraisers or men's meetings or just get-togethers at the church, and they'll fry fish and all that. Instead of, you know, most people just cook a jambalaya or get people to bring stuff. You know, it's a big effort by a big group of people. They're all great people too. And I was blessed to get to go this time and one time last year. And this time we never threw a jug in the water or a noodle or whichever they decided to fish. We literally fished 35 limb lines, and we had more fish than what we could really deal with. We cleaned like 10 150 quart ice chests full of flatheads and blue cats, and I think we had 200 pounds of meat off the flatheads, or you call them spotted cats, some people call them Opelousas, yellow cats, flatheads, whatever. They 200 pounds of meat off of them that was literally cleaned and ready to fry. That's trimmed, everything, and about 75 pounds of meat off of blue cat. And I took some home, a bunch of other people took some home, and they still had plenty to fry for a fundraiser they did this weekend at the church, and they had a really good turnout there too and all. Yeah. But we've been doing some fishing in the creeks by the house, just goofing off. Something we ain't done since we was younger, I guess, wading down the creek fishing and all. And me and Jamie, that you've seen on a few of our episodes and all, we got into a school of fish the other day that was feeding out of a run out, and it's not something you usually see in these local ditches. You see it down in the marsh where you got run outs and just fish like a feeding frenzy and stuff. Well, we got into some sac-a-lait bass feeding, and we tore them up and come home and cleaned them and fried them up and all. So it was definitely fun. But fishing this year, as far as I guess any kind of fishing's just been great. It's been back to where it's supposed to be. You know, Louisiana's known for fishing. Basically, we got bigger limits than any other state. They're trying to knock them down, and I'm not real happy about that. Some of our people are trying to follow other states with their size limits and bag limits and stuff, and we really have the population to sustain what we have now. But it's one of those deals where I think they're targeting a certain group of people, such as boat fishermen and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. It'll get straightened out one way or another, I'm sure. We'll do what we got to do either way. But the fishery's just been back great, you know, from salt water to fresh water, everything, you know. So had a chance to turkey hunt this year, and I tell everybody I quit every season, because when it's working right, when they're gobbling, calling them in, or you're able to work a bird and everything, it's great. But when it ain't working right, you don't hear nothing, don't see nothing. It's just the most miserable thing there is. Everybody likes it because it's interactive, you know. You talking to the bird, he's talking back, and he's getting closer and everything. And but I quit every year anyway. I had one the other day that he would gobble at everything except for a turkey call. He gobbled at birds chirping, he gobbled at gunshots from a distance, he gobbled at cars passing in the distance, woodpeckers, just everything, a hoot owl, crows. You call to him, he didn't say a word. He just stayed in that same spot, and it was too thick for me to try to sneak up on him like we normally would, you know. But we got it done here at the house the first morning. Me and Brother Donnie Martin, you can see on our episode prior to this one, he came over here, and I had a bird show up on camera. And we normally don't hunt here because we don't ever have birds unless beginning of fall, when we decide to plant food plots. They come in and try to eat all the seeds up and dust in the food plot. But
every year. Every
single year. But we went back there the first morning, and man, it just worked out, you know. It's kind of a crazy story. He flew from one tree and landed to the tree above us, which is not normal. They usually just fly on out to the ground, you know. And then he flew behind us, so all in one motion. You can see in the video, I turned the camera and little Donnie turned the gun, and we gave him just about 10 steps, I believe. I told him to go ahead and take him, and he knocked him down. As my buddy David Ellis said, he shot him in the face and broke his feet.
That's right.
So he didn't go nowhere. But I don't know, this year so far has been great. We're really looking forward to going back up north and all. We got a camera that we left out, not really on purpose, up north Louisiana. We didn't get to go back up there. We hunt a place that floods, usually yearly, but it's been 4 or 5 years. But it had a pretty bad rain up there late winter, I guess you could say, and it kind of flooded the camera in. We had a deer on it that morning, and we had ducks swimming at 11 o'clock at night that night, yeah, right in front of the camera. So
yeah.
But
that camera was kind of a late in the year set too. Actually, really late.
That was the last weekend we was there.
The last weekend we was there, we went and set a camera. We had found first time we really been in there. Found a really good spot that we're definitely gonna hunt come November, because I mean it was ate up with scrapes. You know, it was ate up with hookings. Just the amount of deer sign there was unbelievable. And when we left the camera there, got home, and for the last couple months it's been, you know, it's a bedding area we found out. They come through there nonstop. They're sleeping in front of the camera 3-4 nights a week, so we kind of got our whims figured out for the place that we hunt, so that'll definitely be a spot that'll be easy to get to, set up. It's a spot where we hunt. It's just bow hunting, so it's a spot that I think if we had to split up, we could definitely cut them off without hindering where they're coming from.
Oh yeah.
So we put a lot of time and preparation into both hunting and fishing. We're both in church every Sunday. Me and my wife are the youth pastors at our church. Jacob helps us a lot with the youth. We pretty much, if you see me, you'll see Jacob. If you see Jacob, you'll see me. We pretty much do everything together. So kind of what to expect with us, I guess, is when we do these podcasts is, first and foremost, we're going to talk about the Lord and, what He's done for us, because without Him, we wouldn't be able to do any of this.
Right.
And that's the thing that's most important. I would rather tell you something about Christ and touch your heart than tell you what bait to catch a fish on.
Right.
So...
right, because it may help you tomorrow, but it may not help you for eternity.
That's right.
That's more important. That's the most important decision you'll ever make, is what you're going to do with God, giving your heart to Him. Every time a lot of you guys in the outdoors, and I've had people, I've even said it before, you spend a lot of time with God in the outdoors and everything like that, but I've seen a trend here lately where people are posting on different social media things, and it's more of a religious deal, I guess, saying that instead of going to church, they'd rather sit in a deer stand and spend time with God and such and such. And I understand it's a peaceful place and stuff like that, but the fact of the matter is, the Bible says, forsake not yourself to assemble together and all, which means, if you're a Christian, you should want to be around other Christians too.
Right.
And I know some people would rather be in the woods. There's days that I get up and don't feel like going to church, as sad as it is to say, but you do it out of commitment, Jesus was beaten and bruised and torn apart and all to die for our sins, and we're not even worthy. But, we find it hard to get up sometimes and make it to church for 10:30 in the morning. And always find an excuse, not to go to church or something like that, but we find a way to do other things we want to do, So it's just one of those things, there's a fine line between it being a peaceful place to sit in the woods and then using it for an excuse not to go to church or not to be with God, because I believe, and I've seen it before, that anything you put between you and God is an idol. And as much as I love to hunt and fish, and Jared loves it, and our whole family loves it, and all that stuff, we know that if we put that at the forefront and just kind of put God on the back burner and started using that as an excuse, and it's with anything. It could be baseball, football games, and I'm not saying, it's wrong to just miss every now and then and do something, but it's when it becomes between you and God and becomes a stumbling block or an excuse to not go to church, that God will remove whatever's between you and Him if you're a child of God.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you need to pray about it, I guess. But if you're not a child of God, He's probably not going to chase you that hard, or the devil's not going to be on you that bad about it, because if the devil's got you, he ain't trying to get you, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Not only that, I find it's so much easier when you surround yourself with people who walk with Christ and hold you accountable.
Absolutely.
To the things that matter, and the things that matter aren't the hunting, the fishing, and anything yet. The things that matter is, the decisions you make here on earth determine your destiny. Any decision you make, determines your destiny. And when you choose to walk with Christ, you know, it's a gift. Like we just read, it's we didn't deserve it, we didn't ask for it. He gave it to us. You know, it tells us in Jeremiah that He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. You know, so He done it knowing the failure that I would be to Him, the ways that I wouldn't obey, you know, His commandments and His way of serving Him, His guideline, the Bible. You know, so what He calls sin, I fell into so many times. It's pitiful. But when you surround yourself with people that live a life for Christ, it makes it so much easier to walk with Christ.
Yeah, they hold you accountable.
Right.
Because if I step out of line, Jared's quick to tell me, you know, look, you may want to pray about this, you know, I see you, you know, and I the same way with him and our other buddies that we hang around with. It ain't nothing for us to call one of them up and say, hey, look, we need to take a ride. Yeah. And they all know what that means. It means we're going through something, we need to talk about it, we need to pray about it, and usually we hit the hunting lease on a gravel road somewhere. And or something like that. So it's been times, it's been 2 o'clock in the morning, whenever, we all got an understanding of, you know.
Yeah.
And it's good to have, we don't have a whole lot of friends, but the little circle we do have are people that we know we can go to, and then we know that they're going to help keep us straight, and we know that they're going to receive instruction if we see them out of line, or if they see us out of line, the same way.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that's, like Jared said, it's very important these days, because it's hard to find people like that, you know.
Yeah, and you know, the group of guys, we've kind of been with the same group of guys pretty much our whole life.
Oh yeah.
You know, and all of us growing up, we had each other's back. We would fight physically. You know,
right.
Any of us at the drop of a hat, and I'm not saying we were tough for that or anything. We're stupid most of the time, but any of us, and we still will fight physically to defend each other, or to, you know, if someone's trying to hurt Jacob, he knows that he doesn't have to worry about me or Jamie or Ziggy, any of us.
Blaine.
Blaine, any of our group.
Stephen
we don't,
and Devin too.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about if Dylan, if we're, especially Dylan.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about being protected by our friends. But I can tell you this: the older that I've got, so much more does it matter and humble you when I can call Jacob or Blaine or Jamie or any of them and say, look, man, I need some prayer, and they'll fight for you spiritually. That matters
Absolutely
10 times more than fighting physically, because the physical stuff comes and goes. You know, the things that you battle spiritually are there. You're always going to battle things spiritually. You're always going to battle, you know, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. All of these things you're going to battle spiritually, you know. Physical fights, they come and go. You probably never see somebody again that you fight physically. But Satan is always out to seek you and kill and destroy, you know. So, you know, this has went a little deeper than we was planning on going as far as the podcast.
What God planned to do.
But you know, this is the things that matter, and if the words that God give us could touch y'all, that'll mean more to us than anything we can tell y'all about hunting and fishing. We love to tell y'all about hunting and fishing, and anything else that we can. But our heart's desire is to see everyone, you know, come to Christ and love on Jesus because of the way that He loves us.
That's right. Well, that just about does it for today. That's about all we got. We're going to try to do these about once a week. We're going to have some of our buddies on here. One of them's his family's a business owner, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about that. They got a pretty successful business going with Hills equipment and tractors and everything. So we're going to get them to update us all on the way their year's going so far and how their hunting season went and everything. And I think that's about it. Like I said, we're going to try our best to post every week. If y'all would like and subscribe to our channel and all, we're going to be trying to post our audio on Apple Podcasts here pretty soon if I can figure out how to do it. My redneck ingenuity gonna kick in, I guess, here in a little while and see if I can figure out how to do it on my computer. So,
Yep.
y'all stick around.
Yep.
See y'all next time.
Jesus loves you.
Absolutely.